States are still working to break free from generations of disparity and brutality. In this eye-opening examination, we reveal the states where racial hostility is most prevalent, laying bare stunning statistics and disturbing events that continue to define America. Racial divide. The journey into a nation and 39's most uncomfortable truths begins. 10. Nebraska. Nebraska's wide plains and growing cities mask an unsettling truth. It continues to struggle with racial and ancestry-based hate crimes. In 2023, the state recorded 63 hate crime incidents, a slight decrease from 70 in 2022. Nearly 40% of these crimes were motivated by race, ethnicity, or ancestry, demonstrating ongoing tensions, while race-based hate crimes declined from 49 in 2022 to 24 in 2023. Incidents targeting religion and sexual orientation rose sharply. Hate crimes based on religion jumped from 4 to 10, while crimes targeting sexual orientation more than doubled, increasing from 12 to 25. Most reported race crimes targeted Black residents, followed by Hispanic and Asian communities, with growing concerns about hate speech and extremist activity. 9. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, the end quote, cradle of liberty, end quote, has a complicated history with hate crimes and race. In 2023, the state recorded 180 hate crime incidents, with 70% of the crimes resulting from race, ethnicity, or ancestry biases. Philadelphia, the largest city in the state, had 136 hate crimes in 2023, the fourth highest since 1993. Notably, hate crimes against Jewish communities rose by more than 237% that year. Beyond hate crimes, racial gaps exist in Philadelphia and 39 systems, public school system. A report in 2021 indicated that 60% of Philadelphia students were enrolled in low-performing schools. Such schools typically have fewer resources, which impact students and employers, and outcomes. Solutions are being implemented to address these problems. Initiatives like Philly Joy Bank seek to reduce racial gaps in infant mortality by providing financial assistance. 8. Illinois. Illinois, specifically Chicago, shows the complex race problems in America. In 2023, the state reported 324 hate crimes, almost triple the 109 in 2014. About 75% of these crimes were racially based, so about 243 incidents. Chicago and 39 old housing laws have created a lot of segregation, especially on the south side. This Black neighborhood has economic problems, including higher unemployment rates and less access to quality health care. The median household income here is about $45.01, and 25.8% of the residents live in poverty. Schools in these neighborhoods tend to have budget problems affecting student achievement. To help address these problems, projects like the suggested Green Social Housing Plan aim to offer affordable, environmentally friendly housing using technology to minimize heating and cooling costs. 7. South Dakota. South Dakota is vast, but the Native American populations within it are facing problems. In 2023, there were 50 hate crimes in the state, and 40% of them were targeted against Native Americans. The Pine Ridge Reservation, home to the Ogallala Lakota Nation, is one of the poorest areas within the U.S. More than 51.9% of people there are living in poverty, and around 80% are unemployed. Men there reach 47 years old, and women reach about 55 years old, far lower than the national rate. Many people do not finish school, and there is little access to quality health care, which results in illness. For example, babies pass away at a rate 5 times higher than the national rate. These economic challenges create persistent problems that keep people poor and excluded from society. To address these problems, we must honor treaties, invest in infrastructure, and help to restore cultural traditions. 6. Minnesota. Minnesota, generally considered to be a progressive state, has some very serious racial problems. In 2023, 180 hate crime offenses were reported and 197 victims, an increase from the previous year. The stats of the criminal justice system has incredible racial gaps. Black Minnesotans are incarcerated at a rate 5 times higher than whites. This gap exists from arrest to incarceration. Economically, the median household income of Black households is significantly lower than that of whites. Educationally, Minnesota is 50th in the nation for racial gaps in high school graduation rates. These issues feed into greater societal problems. These problems must be addressed by systemic change in criminal justice, education, and economic policy to create equity and inclusion. 5. Iowa. Iowa's serene landscape hides deeply ingrained racial issues. In 2023, the state recorded 70 hate crimes, 60%, 42 of them motivated by racial biases. Black Iowans are especially affected. Black residents face higher unemployment rates than white residents, which makes them economically vulnerable. Housing discrimination makes things worse, and residential segregation becomes common, with limited access to quality education and amenities. There are also gaps in education. In Des Moines, for example, only 19% of black adults possess a bachelor and 39 degrees degree, compared to 38% of white adults. This gap contributes to sustaining cycles of inequality. To address these issues, there is a need for an integrated approach, including policy reforms in housing, education, and employment, as well as proactive action against discrimination and inclusion. 4. Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a liberal state with progressive politics, yet it has stark racial inequalities that are not directly apparent. Wisconsin in 2023 reported 130 hate crime incidents, 85% of which were racially or ethnically motivated. This reveals racial tensions remain high in Wisconsin, particularly within urban areas. Racial inequality is also seen in the criminal justice system. Wisconsin, which has the nation's largest black incarceration rate, has 1 black adult for every 36 behind bars. 3. Louisiana. Louisiana is a culturally and historically rich state, but it is racially divided on a large scale. In 2023, the state had 150 hate crimes, 90% of which were race, ethnicity, or ancestry-based. Black communities in Louisiana have very deep problems, particularly in the criminal justice system. Racial profiling and tough laws have seen a large number of black people end up in prison, more than 60% of the state's prison population, despite making up only a third of the population. The education system in Louisiana also reflects racial disparity, with schools in black communities being far underfunded, resulting in lower education outcomes. 2. Maryland. Maryland has both historical and contemporary problems that mirror its racial issues. In 2023, the state saw 110 hate crimes, 65%, or roughly 72, of which were racially or ethnically motivated. The largest city in Maryland, Baltimore, also faces deep economic disparities that impact its black population. Black individuals constitute approximately 63% of the population in Baltimore, but are more likely to be unemployed at higher levels than white individuals and possess lower levels of education. In 2014, black males aged 20 to 65 years old had an 8.5% level of unemployment, higher than the 7.8% level of unemployment among white males aged 20 to 65 years old. Moreover, research indicates that black employees in Baltimore are grappling with 2 issues: high levels of unemployment and low-income employment. These economic problems are made worse by a history of segregation and disinvestment, which shows up in disparities in housing, education, and employment access for black citizens. To fix these issues, we require comprehensive reform in the criminal justice system, education, and economic policy to enable equity and justice for everyone in Maryland. 1. West Virginia. West Virginia is predominantly white, and 92.8% of its population identifies as white. West Virginia is experiencing some issues with race relations. In 2023, there were 270 hate crime reports in West Virginia, a nearly 50% increase from previous years. Racial or ethnic crimes dominated, and religious hatred-based crimes experienced a 178% increase. The black community constitutes 3.8% of the population and is still experiencing issues. The employment-to-population ratio for black workers between the ages of 25 and 54 stands at 65.2%, while that for white workers stands at 74.4%. There are still issues of education, with more black children getting suspended and doing worse academically. Although West Virginia is one of the least racially diverse states, it still experiences issues of racial intolerance. This means significant changes need to be made to address such issues. What are your thoughts on this? Were any of these findings surprising to you? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to more in-depth analysis on America's current hot topics.